Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm up at the woodland shed. We've had a bit of a sprinkling of snow last night, so it's really nice up here, especially when the sun comes through, but it's pretty cold. It's not going to get above zero all day. So I'm up here to shoot a video about hammocks. I've had quite a few questions over the last year and a half about the two hammocks that I use, the DD Frontline hammock and the Amok Hammock. They're both two different styles of hammock. Now, a lot of people ask me which one would I recommend, and it's a really difficult question to answer because I'd recommend both of them. They're both excellent hammocks, even though they're a little different. So the point of this video is just to put the hammocks up, and I'll give you a look at them. I'll give you a look at the pack size, the weight, the cost, and just go through some of my thoughts about the two hammocks. So let's have a look at the DD stuff first. So what I've got here is a DD 3x3 meter tarp. This isn't the super light one. This is just the standard one, and it weighs in around 800 grams. And I've got a ridge line there from DD as well, a beer holder, and the DD gear sling for hanging your backpack underneath your hammock, which is quite useful. So I've got the standard Frontline hammock here, and the DD under blanket, which is really useful, and I think it's a must-have for camping here in the UK. So I've just got the tarp set up there in a fairly flat diamond formation. Obviously, if it's bad weather, you can just kind of pull these down to give yourself more shelter. So let's get the DD hammock strung up now. So when I bought the DD hammock, I upgraded to the whoopee sling suspension system, which I'll show you in a bit more detail. When you buy the hammock, it just comes with I think it's a 5 meter section of cord on each end, which you wrap around the trunk and tie. It's pretty difficult to adjust, but the whoopee sling system comes with these tree huggers. Now these are the standard set that you get. I think they're approximately 1.5 meters or something like that, but you can get an extra large set, which they're a bit thicker, as you can see. I think they're 2 meters long, so these are probably a worthwhile upgrade, especially if you're going to be camping in a deciduous forest and you might be wrapping your tree huggers around a large oak or something like that. So I tend to wrap the tree hugger just underneath the ridge line. And once you've got it in place, you can just clip your carabiner through. One of my top tips is to grab the other end of the hammock, get the carabiner and just clip it somewhere on the edge of your pocket or in your belt loop, just so you don't end up wrapping your tree huggers around and then having to reach down to get the carabiner. So you can get those set up exactly where you want them. And then just unclip the carabiner off your trousers, and then there you go, you're all set just to adjust it. So as I mentioned, this is the upgraded suspension system. So you get the tree huggers, you get the carabiner, and then the whoopee slings, which I think is an arm steel. These are called. Really strong, fairly lightweight, and dead easy to adjust. And this is the hammock sleeve, which again you have to buy extra, but it's waterproof, and it just allows you to kind of keep your hammock on the ground, or if it's raining you're not too worried about it getting wet. So it's definitely a worthwhile purchase. So you just kind of adjust it like that. Maybe slightly lower than that. I usually have it just so I can just sit on it comfortably enough, and then it's just a case of removing the hammock sleeve. And the DD hammock comes equipped with a bug net, so you just grab the attached bit of elastic, what I tend to do is I just kind of wrap it around the ridge line a couple of times until it's tight. So there's the hammock up, guys. It doesn't take long, just literally a couple of moments. And the mesh is it's fine enough to keep out midges. And you can always just fold it back like this if you want to sit in it and have some of it open, if you want to lean over and make a coffee or anything like that. And it does have another layer underneath. A lot of people prefer to put a mat in there and sleep on a camping mat. I mean, I have tried it, but it just I didn't find it very comfortable. The mat was just moving around far too much, so I tend to just put the under blanket on, and I find that you know, more than comfortable. So we'll get that attached now. So this is the under blanket. It comes in a compression sack, and it's pretty easy to attach. It comes equipped with a number of little DD carabiners around the side, which basically just clip on to the bottom of the hammock. And as I mentioned earlier, you do really need one of these. I went motorcycle camping a few summers ago. I mean, it was red hot during the day, 25 degrees, but it got down to about 10 degrees on the night, and I really felt the cold. So I think even in a British summer, you definitely need an under blanket. So you've just got a couple of carabiners here, which are attached to some shock cord on either end of the under blanket, and you just clip one end on here, one end on the other. So it just kind of clips straight onto the whoopee slings. And then you've got carabiners on the side, and they're just attached to these attachment points on the side of the hammock. So that's the under blanket attached. Again, it just takes a couple of moments. There's like 2 points on each side. You know, as I mentioned, the carabiners come with it. And then you've just got an adjustment cord here, so you can kind of tighten it to fit you a bit more snug. And there's another one here at the ends. So yeah, you just kind of need to experiment a little bit with it. But once you get in that, you know, it's really, really warm. And I've slept in this in, you know, -4, -5 here in Scotland. And it's been absolutely fine. The way it works is it just kind of traps a pocket of air underneath the hammock, and it really does keep you warm. You know, there's no compression on it. The bottom of the hammock takes the compression. That'll flatten the fibres in your sleeping bag with your body weight on, and then this just hangs just underneath, you know, and just captures a layer of warm air, and it really does work. I have to say, I think it's a must if you're going to be hammock camping in the UK or in cold conditions. And the advantage of the DD hammock, it's just dead easy to get into. Now once you're in, swing your legs round. I'm obviously not going to put my feet in because I don't want to get it dirty. And there you are, you know, you zip it up. You've got your insulation underneath, you've got your bug net, you've got your rain shelter, sorted. So I've just attached the gear sling on the bottom of the hammock there. It just ties in at the top there with some cord. And I comfortably managed to fit my 75 litre backpack in there, and it just kind of keeps it up off the ground. And that, once you get in there, that'll not touch it. And then there's the little DD beer can holder, which I also highly recommend. So I've just left the DD tarp up because I actually use that with the Amok. Amok do make their own tarp, but I found that the 3x3 DD tarp gives you enough coverage, so I've just stuck with that. And what I have here is the other two components of the Amok. You've got the Amok itself and a sleeping mat, which you need for this hammock. So I'll just show you how to kind of get this set up. inside the bag you get the tree huggers. Now you don't use carabiners with this, they kind of have a little metal locking system which I'll try and demonstrate to you. Now on the edge of the bag you've got a green tag here, so whichever way you want to face, for example if I want to be looking up that way, then I'll put this green tag on the right hand side tree, and there's another red one in there which goes on the left, and that'll dictate the direction in which the hammock hangs in. So the tree huggers are quite handy actually. They come with this nice little velcro tab that kind of keeps them all together, which is a nice idea. So basically what you do, I'll probably try and demonstrate it here rather than around the tree because it gets a bit awkward. You just kind of you've got a loop at one end, a loop there, so you just kind of wrap it around the tree and then you just pull it round, and that is essentially your tree hugger. So that bit goes around the tree, and then at the end you've got this little metal buckle. Now that has to face this little point has to face up the strap towards the tree. Bear with me. So you've got that little green notch there. That just kind of goes in there like that, and then it faces back towards the tree, and that's how you do it. And you do it the same on the other side, and that's you set up. So again, I mean, similar to the DD, it just takes a few moments to set up. So once it's set up, it pretty much just looks like this. You've got a bit of arm steel going across the top here, which takes all the tension. And then you need to blow your mattress up, and there's a zipped compartment at the bottom here, and it pushes up there. Now what you don't really want to do if you've got an inflatable mattress and you're in a woodland like this is blow it up on the floor, unless you've got a tarp to put on, because it's going to get dirty and it could potentially burst, especially in a forest like this because there's tons and tons of bramble everywhere. So I'll show you a technique that you can use with the Exped mat and a schnozzle bag to blow it up without putting it on the ground. So what you can do is just hang your sleeping mat over this wire here, and if you have well, actually I'll explain first. These Exped mats, they do come with a built-in hand pump which you can pump up and down on the ground, but that's not very practical in a forest. As I mentioned, there's a risk of actually bursting your bag. So Exped make these schnozzle bags, they call them. This is the large one. It's basically just a dry bag, a large dry bag, but on the end it has an attachment here. Now that attachment clips into your Exped mat, and then you can just kind of fill the bag with air and then compress the air into the mat. So I'll show you how that's done. So once it's blown up, it's just a case of sliding it into the hammock. And then you can just zip it up there. So that's the hammock pretty much set up. Does it take any longer than the DD? Not really, but it's just a little bit more fiddly trying to get the air mat blown up. But again, it's fairly straightforward to put up. Once you get it up, you can just adjust it and get it to the height that you want it. I've found the best height is usually about waist height. So if you hold the mat up, if it's sitting around your waist, then it's going to be a lot easier to get in, because perhaps one of the downsides of this style of hammock is actually figuring out how to get in. I don't know if anyone watched my video when I went to the Galloway Forest Park. The first time I used this, I kind of just jumped in and just slid right out again, but I've got the hang of it now. So I'll just show you some of the features of the hammock. I think the first thing to point out is that there's a foot box at the bottom. Now when I bought this hammock, it didn't come with any poles for this. They didn't sell them, so you had to basically use a stick like I have now. Now I think that they've actually sorted that out, and a pole comes included with the new hammock. And it's the same situation at the top here, the same setup. You've got a couple of points to get the kind of head box set up. Now I think it's important to do the bottom one. I'll just move back a bit and you can see that the hammock is a little bit bottom heavy, I find, and if you haven't got this foot box up, if you put your sleeping bag in here, sometimes, you know, the hammock can just go like that and all your sleeping gear falls on the floor. So I think it's quite important to get that bit set up properly. So let's have a look at the rest of it. The stuff sack stays attached to the hammock, so you can kind of put your tarp bag or your sleeping bag in there. You've got the little adjustment strap here, so you can pull that up a little bit and adjust the height of the hammock. Then here you've got a little storage space for your shoes, or you can put your mobile phone in, or your beers in there, or whatever. I tend to keep my shoes on the floor and just put other stuff in here, your head torch and that. You've got a couple of little pockets here on the sides. Now Amok have thought ahead, and they have got a little beer bottle holder stitched in there, which is great. You can adjust the way that the hammock sits, actually, which I'll show you once I get in, because you can turn it into a little chair, but we'll have a look at that later. And you do get a bug net, which is in this corner here. So it's got a YKK zip on as well, so it's all fairly decent quality. And if you have a look at the top, you get a little bit of cord which kind of runs across the top of the hammock, just to keep the bug net off you. So what I'll do is I'll just put the camera on the tripod and I'll just set that bug net up so you can have a look. So there you go, it's a good comprehensive, very fine bug net, so that'll keep the midges and the mosquitoes off your face in the night. I'll be honest, I haven't actually used this because I've mainly camped in the colder months with the hammock, and if you watched me zip it up there, I can imagine that it might be a little bit of a hassle to zip up whilst you're in, especially once you start having to lean forward to zip the bottom end up. I can just see myself ending up you know, face first in the dirt. Right, now I'll show you how I get in and out of this thing. Well guys, I'm just gonna show you how to get into this hammock. Hopefully it'll be successful. I thought I'd best just take my shoes off. So I have got a mat down, which I would recommend with this hammock, just so you can take your shoes off and get in and out. I mean, the DD bag does have the gear sling underneath, but if you put something down, you can just stick your backpack on the floor. Right, now what I've done is I've just raised the height of the hammock a little bit, just to make sure that I don't hit the ground as soon as I get in. So the easiest technique I've found is to grab hold of where the bottle holder is, pull this underneath you, and then grab the other side, and then just get in that way. And then once you're in, you're sorted. So getting out, you just do the same thing. You can either hold on to this arm steel up the top, which, you know, this will take all your weight, and just kind of get out of the side. Just put your feet over that way, and out you get. So once you have a little bit of practice, it's fairly straightforward. There are a few other features to the hammock which I'll show you. You can basically use it as a seat. So if you get your arse in the centre, you can pull these two levers here. You can pull those up, and it's almost like a lounger. And you can adjust the foot end as well. Well, that's slightly more difficult. You can bring the foot end up, and you've got a really kind of really comfortable little seat. Some people kind of put like a little table there, and you can sit and you can reach over, you can make coffee, you can, I don't know, you can get a beer, you can even cook some food if you want to do. So it is kind of comfortable in that respect. You can just sit here, you can read your book, or just, you know, I've got a lovely view in front of me here. Once you look beyond the camera, so you can just sit and relax. So in terms of the comfort, you can see that you've got none of that claustrophobic stuff that you get in a traditional hammock. And if you want to sleep on your side, it's really easy to do. You can just kind of just turn around, and it's virtually flat. So you can grab this to use to steady yourself and everything in the hammock. So yeah, I mean, if there is an advantage over the DD Frontline, it's just that it has the edge in comfort, I think, especially if you're a side sleeper. But I think that's about it, really. It's a touch more versatile, but a touch more of a faff to kind of set up and get used to. But yeah, I don't know if that's been any help to anyone who's trying to decide between these two hammocks, or if you've got a traditional style hammock and you think, well, shall I buy one of the hammocks? I don't really know. Well, folks, I'm just mooching back to the truck. I've got all the hammock gear in my backpack. And I have to say, it's great just walking through the woods with a loaded pack on my back. It's something I haven't done for a long time. But back to the hammocks. I don't want to draw any kind of definitive conclusions about those two hammocks. So I don't want to say one is better than the other. The video is more of a demonstration. They're both good, you know. They have different strengths. I think the DD hammock, its major strength, I think, is it's easy to set up, especially with the whoopee slings on. You can put it up quickly, and it's easy to adjust. It's very user friendly. It's also a lot more budget friendly than the hammock. For £200 you get quite a bit of kit. It's all well made, and it should last you a long time. Comfort wise, for one or two nights, you know, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I would just take it with me. In fact, over the last year, every time I've camped up in the woods, I've always used the DD hammock, just because it's so simple to set up. So on the other side of the coin, you've got the hammock, which it's a bit of a different beast. I think the major negative of that hammock is just the price, which you can't get away from. At £200, you could get the full DD kit for probably less than that if you shop around. But you just get the hammock for that, and that's before you throw a sleeping mat and a tarp into the bargain. So it's definitely an expensive hammock, and it's not as user friendly as the DD. It does take some getting used to. Even now, I mean, I've had it for well over a year, and I still find I have to adjust it quite a bit, and it's a bit of a faff to set up. So I think that's I mean, that's not a major downside. And the plus side is, once you get over those, once you get it set up and you get into it, it's amazingly comfortable. You know, when nightfall comes in, it's time to go to sleep. It's like sleeping on a feather bed. You can guarantee that you get a really good night's sleep. So yeah, two totally different hammocks. As I said, I'll just let you draw your own conclusions. Now I think I better start getting on out of here. I think looks like it might start snowing again. So as ever, I'd just like to say thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you again in the next one.